Well, good morning or good afternoon, I should say. This is another weekly meeting of the Yes California Calexit Congress. Jason Wright, CEO, is traveling right now from Oregon to uh, Fresno, so he will not be able to be available for this meeting. But Jason Wright, CEO of Yes California, will be here in the future to do shows. Um, about national divorce coming up very soon. So we're going to have him in studio. He's going to be doing an interview with the Different Things podcast coming up. We already have him scheduled for that, and he's going to be doing a couple national divorce talk raw with me. We're going to be covering two different episodes. One is the original Yes California plan for returning all federal land to the indigenous. That'll be one national divorce show I will do with Jason. The other national divorce show I will do with Jason is about um, the upcoming. It was about. There's two professors who've criticized Calexit, and we wrote a refutation letter explaining how their arguments were wrong. We tried to get that back in the newspaper. The newspaper refused. So we said, well, since the media won't do their job, hint, hint, seen that before, then what we'll do is we'll do a show of National Divorce Raw about it. So Jason's going to be joining me. That's going to be coming up this week, sometime between Monday to Wednesday. We will have a couple episodes of National Divorce Talk Raw, where we will cover the original Yes California plan for returning all federal land to indigenous, and we will refute professors who have said Calexit is not a good idea, showing how they're wrong and didn't really do their research right and are just kind of foolish when they take that statement. We also completed a interview with Americans United for Peaceful Separation. This was the inaugural podcast of that organization. We're proud to be part of it. There will be more podcasts of that coming up. Let's take a look at comments real quick. Good morning. Morning, brother. I'm not dressed up today, so I'm a little bit feeling underneath the weather. So I dress professional, but it's not the full suit and tie. I hope you guys can forgive me. Anyways, let me show you a little bit of the interview we did with Americans United for Peaceful Separation. Kinds of insulting soldiers, because we have a bunch of vets out here in California, and they go, tell me how I'm doing it. And most
the biggest secessionists I have found are veterans and active duty soldiers. In fact, the New Hampshire Independence PAC, there's a PAC now that started a few weeks ago, also in New Hampshire simultaneously. The founder and chairman and the treasurer are both military veterans of the United States military. Like one's Air Force and one's Army, I believe. So again, so many veterans are in this movement.
So you can see there, that is the Rabbi Stephen Axelman, who's the head of Americans United for Peaceful Separation. That is Alu Axelman, who's the head of the New Hampshire Independence Movement. Daniel Miller of the Texas Nationalist Movement was invited, along with members of Yes California, the largest liberal secessionist movement. So we did that. That's an inaugural podcast. Been trying to get that up for about 8 months. I've been telling them, guys, if you're not making your own media, then the media will make up stuff about you. So you have to get your own story out there. So they're finally doing it. I've been suggesting they do this for a while. I didn't do the work, but I was like, this is a great idea. You guys need to move on it. So anyways, they did. We're going to continue to do that. Stay tuned for National Divorce Talk Raw coming up in the next few days, where we'll have Jason Wright in studio, and we'll be covering that. Also, stay tuned for another episode of Americans United for Peaceful Separation. Also, the documentary for Yes California is coming up in September. So So we have the Americans United for Peaceful Separation podcast, which we did the first one, and we'll be doing continuously. We also have Jason coming up on the Different Things podcast, which is a high production show. And then in September, we're going to have Awfully Nice release the documentary about Yes California. So a bunch of high production quality products about Yes California coming up. Nobody else has really been able to get the story out at this level of production quality. And we're doing it on 3 different podcasts or 3 different vehicles, and they'll all be coming out now or throughout September. So get ready for that. Lots of good stuff coming. And that was the plan, was to get ready for November. So the reason that we're doing all that is to be ready for midterms in November. So Americans United for Peaceful Separation podcast is getting started now in the month of September. Jason is going to be on the Different Things podcast in September, and the Awfully Nice documentary is coming out in September. That means one more month of October, and then we go into midterms in November. So our plan was to be ready to be the dominant place for secession discussion, peaceful and legal, by midterms, especially for California. And these are some of the products that we have to do this. This is on top of our website already being up, courses already being offered, and merch already being offered. Yeah. And these are some of the things we already have done. So we have the website is reborn. We're offering courses for the first time, and we have a merch store. So the website was down for a while. We got it back up under Jason. We're starting to offer courses. That is something we've been talking about for a year. We finally got it done within 2 months underneath Jason. We have a merch store. That's something we've been talking about years. We finally got it done within 2 months underneath Jason. So a lot of developments already. On top of that, these developments are coming out for this month here. Americans United for Peaceful Separation podcast. We're going to be part of that. We were part of the inaugural show. We're going to be part of that going forward. We will be the only Calexit group participating in that national podcast, raising our profile across America. Jason's going to be on the Different Things podcast here, which is the highest profile interview that any of the members of this movement have had. And then we'll have the Awfully Nice documentary, which will be the highest profile production documentary coming out. Our goal is to be ready for midterms. And we've already got the website reborn, got courses offered, and the merch store. And we're going to have the definitive documentary of Calexit, 10 years of Calexit, coming in September. So, Yes California is also producing their own documentary. And we're past the halfway point now. We've gone over a lot of archival footage, and we've been able to pull together about 200 hours, which is going to be whittled down to 40 minutes. But out of hundreds of hours of footage, we spent days and have managed to compile it or condense it down into about 40 minutes of footage. So we're going to be having our own documentary coming out soon. So again, we're on one podcast with other international secessionists. Our leader is going to be on another high-profile podcast. There's going to be a documentary about our organization. This is after we already have our website reborn. We are offering courses for the first time and a merch store for the first time. This is in addition to the definitive documentary Calexit, a Telling Years of Calexit, looking over 100 years of footage coming in September. And this is all to be ready for November for midterms so that we can be the definitive discussion site or recognized entity to lead the discussion on secession in America, peacefully and legally. Okay, let's take a look at some comments. I did not know October is going to be 10 years from California's next century. September 9th is California Statehood Day. We don't really celebrate that, Daniel, because that's the day that California was taken over by America officially. So we look at the day that the Californios kicked out the 2 different Mexican governors and look at that as our actual, Independence Day, because California was independent from Mexico for 10 years. And we look at the days that they kicked out the two different Mexican sent governors as our Independence Day. Yeah, I know. Okay, you know. All right. Well, sorry, bro. My bad. Which date is that? Rich, I don't know the exact date. It's the two. It's in the courses. I can tell you if you take the courses at Yes California or calexit.podia.com, it's in there. There was two different Mexican governors. They were sent by Mexico from 1836 to 1846 to control the territory of California, which was viewed as a far-off, weird territory by the central Mexican government around that time. The Californias kicked out both of those quasi-dictator governors, meaning that they were effectively independent from the government of Mexico for about 10 years, a full decade before illegal immigrants from America came and intentionally overthrew the government of California. Rich, you're right. We do need to know what our national day is. I will start looking that up. It is not the State Ascension Day. The State Ascension Day is the day celebrating America's takeover of California, where they gunned down everybody who disagreed, denied Latinos the right to vote, instituted segregation against Black people, instituted genocide against indigenous, and instituted a regime of basically South African apartheid against the Asians. So not really something to celebrate. You're right, Rich. We need to get that real date. Let me look into that. But basically, it was the 1836 to 1846 period, right, which ended with the Bear Flaggers. You got it, Rich. Let me look into that. We'll find out our real date for real California history, and we'll go from there. But yeah. So we need the day that California kicked out the Mexican governors, not the day that America says California became a state. The day that America says California became a state is a celebration of white supremacists coming into California under the guise of manifest destiny, which they believe said white people were better than everybody and you could kill them off. And that's why we had basically South African apartheid established in California after illegal immigrants without paperwork illegally invaded California. They were sort of welcomed as immigrants, and then they overthrew the government. So the first illegal immigrants in California were Americans. Not well known. Yeah, let me look into that. Anyways, so that you know, that's just the update right now. Check out the Americans United for Peaceful Separation podcast. Check out Jason Coming Up on the Different Things podcast. Check out the Off the Nice documentary. Check out our website, is Already Reborn. Check out the courses. They were the only ones offering them. And check out the merch store. And all of this is to be ready for November. All of this is to be ready for November, where we still think Republicans are going to sweep. I understand there's a lot of talk about this and that, but still pretty sure Republicans are going to do very well, and California is going to flip out. So that's it for this week's show. Sometimes the shows are long, sometimes they're short, but they're always interesting. So that's it for today's week's show. We will have episodes of National Divorce Talk Raw coming up, a lot of them with me and Jason live in the next few days. And then we'll see you in a week. Thank you, everybody. Rich, I'll get you that information on the dates. I appreciate you, brother. Okay. Oh, almost forgot.